What if I told you that the pain you're feeling right now, the burnout, the fatigue, the crushing silence of dreams deferred, is not your enemy, but your awakening? What if everything they told you about success was a decoy? Because somewhere, between the 9 to 5 and your third unfinished side hustle, between the perfectly filtered life you scroll past and the life you're actually living, you forgot the truth. Success is not convenience. Success is combustion. Napoleon Hill once said, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But those seeds, they don't grow in comfort. They grow in friction. They grow in the ashes of burnout. When you're face down, heart hollowed out, and soul whispering, 'You can't keep doing this,' that's the moment the real work begins. Because here's the truth they don't post on social media. Burnout is not failure. It is your brain screaming that you're playing too small for the size of your spirit. You are not exhausted because you're doing too much. You are exhausted because you're doing too little of what ignites your fire. Look at Edison, 10,000 failed attempts. 10,000 nights where he could have said, 'This isn't working.' He didn't quit, because to Edison, every failure wasn't fatigue, it was feedback. And here you are, 3 weeks into a dream you claim to believe in, already doubting your worth because no one's watching, no one's buying, no one's clapping. You were raised to seek applause, but builders of legacies don't wait for claps, they create echoes. That's billionaire thinking. Not money, not yachts, conviction, endurance, vision sharper than pain. Do you think Elon Musk risked everything? His money, his reputation, his sanity, because it was easy? He slept on the floor of his factories while critics mocked him. Why? Because his purpose screamed louder than his comfort. This is where burnout becomes transformation, not when you back off, but when you lean in harder. You are not in pain because you're weak. You are in pain because you're growing. Pain is the scaffolding of transformation. And every time you want to quit, you are one decision away from rewriting your DNA. But you've been taught to fear friction, to chase balance over brilliance, to numb instead of ignite. That's civilian thinking. You were not built to survive. You were built to transcend. You think billionaires think like the burned out? No, they weaponize pressure. They alchemize fatigue into focus. Here's what you don't realize. Burnout is not just emotional. It's spiritual congestion. It's the resistance between who you are and who you're afraid to become. You want to rest? Fine. But rest with the intent to reload, not retreat. You want to quit? Ask yourself this. What would your future self, 5 years stronger, 5 years richer in mastery, say about quitting now? They'd say, "Don't you dare." Because every second you invest in distraction, in hesitation, in playing small, you delay the version of you that could have changed everything. Lincoln lost election after election. He buried his children. He walked through depression thick as fog. But he never stopped walking. That's not resilience. That's legacy pressure. You think you're the only one who wants to disappear into the silence. Every great mind has danced with quitting, but they kept going. Not because they weren't tired, but because their mission mattered more than their mood. Burnout is the whisper of your old self dying, and your old self doesn't want to go quietly. But you are not a creature of convenience. You are the storm. You are the fire starter. You are the rebel of comfort zones. So stop looking for ease. Start looking for ignition. Stop scrolling through borrowed lives. Build the one they'll study after you're gone. You say you want freedom. Freedom is not found in breaks. Freedom is found in the discipline to break through. Don't romanticize quitting. Quitting is seductive. It promises rest. But what it delivers is regret. And regret is the cemetery where unlived dreams go to rot. You want to feel better? Don't quit. Don't retreat. Realign. You are one aligned day from dominance, one aligned week from momentum, one aligned year from a life that rewrites your bloodline's destiny. But alignment doesn't come through naps. It comes through decision, through declaration. Stand up. Plant your feet in the soil of your purpose. Burnout is not your curse. It is your call to rise. Your lungs are not empty. They are ready to scream back at the chaos. I was made for this. I am not a casualty. I am a creator. Let them sleep. Let them scroll. Let them numb themselves with dopamine and doubt. But you will build while others rest. You will rise while others recline, because you've seen the truth now. This world is not for the passive. It is for those who burn without burning out, who fail without falling apart, who bleed but still believe. And the clock is ticking, not just on your goals, but on your soul's contract. You are not here to blend in. You are here to break patterns. The world is starving for truth, starving for conviction, starving for you. And all it takes is one choice. Keep playing small, or awaken the legacy-level thinking you were born for. Do you know what separates a forgotten name from a force of nature? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's the refusal to negotiate with mediocrity. There are no billionaires of thought or legacy who felt like it every day. They didn't wait for clarity. They created it. They didn't wait for energy. They summoned it. This is where your thinking must fracture and rebuild, because too many of you are still praying to the false gods of motivation. But listen closely. Motivation is seasonal, but identity is eternal. You need to stop chasing energy and start becoming energy. The greats don't need perfect conditions. They are the storm that creates momentum from thin air. When Marcus Aurelius stood against plague, war, and betrayal, he didn't look outward for peace. He forged it within. His empire crumbled around him, but his mind remained an unshakable fortress. That is billionaire thinking. It doesn't panic in pressure. It performs. It recalibrates. It becomes dangerously calm. And you're still, measuring your future with the ruler of temporary emotions. You have confused being tired with being lost. You have confused being busy with being useful. You have confused being broke with being broken. But you are none of these things. You are simply undertrained in the art of spiritual endurance. You were born into an era of dopamine, of digital noise, of synthetic urgency. You live in a world that profits from your doubt, monetizes your anxiety, and glorifies hustle without honor. But hear me now. Your peace is not passive. It is a weapon, and your work, when done with full clarity, full integrity, full force, becomes a declaration of war against entropy. Burnout only happens when your soul is sprinting in one direction and your daily life is dragging in the opposite. So the question is not, how do I quit the grind? The question is, how do I become the kind of person whose work is the alignment? Let's rewrite this. You don't need another break. You need a breakthrough. You need to confront your rituals. You need to interrogate every minute you spend. And you need to slaughter the idea that success is a destination. Success is not something you reach. It's something you radiate from the way you stand, from the way you speak, from the way you show up when no one is watching. Because when you train your mind to see discomfort as currency, everything changes. The early mornings, the silent nights, the friction. They are deposits in your legacy account. And while the masses are busy escaping reality, the rare few are rewriting it. You want to escape burnout? Then decide, right now, that you are done running from hard things. Greatness isn't built by those who quit when the fire gets hot. It's built by those who become fire. You can't microwave resilience. You forge it with repetition, with intention, with identity. Remember this, your goals are not tired of waiting. They are waiting for you to stop negotiating with your old self. Do you think Carnegie built steel empires because it was easy? He was underpaid, underestimated, and overworked. But he read every night. He studied every move. He sharpened every thought. He wasn't playing checkers. He was building chessboards. That is the kind of thinking that elevates you from employee to empire, from burnout to breakthrough. This isn't about money. This is about mastery. The kind that echoes when you're gone. You have a decision to make. Stay in the loop of fatigue, distraction, and quiet despair, or rise into the chaos with clarity as your sword. You must become the person your younger self believed you could be, and the person your future self refuses to let down. Stop asking, how much longer? Start declaring, as long as it takes. This is not a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It's a mission. And missions demand transformation, not just hustle. You must kill the version of yourself that tolerates average. You must bury the identity that calls burnout normal. You must resurrect the disciplined animal inside you, the one that hungers for purpose like oxygen. Because the world does not need another content consumer. The world needs builders of rhythm, of ritual, of results. They don't teach you this in school, but I will. Clarity is more powerful than caffeine. Conviction is more addictive than dopamine, and purpose will carry you farther than adrenaline ever could. Don't just work harder, work holier. Let your effort be sacred. Let your discipline be divine. The monks of old didn't burn out because every move they made was aligned with eternity. Your job now is to stop living like your days are expendable. They are not. Every hour you waste in confusion is a contract signed in silence with mediocrity. You don't need balance. You need alignment. And that alignment, it lives inside you, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the burnout. But you must choose it. Choose to suffer forward. Choose to fight clean. Choose to become undeniable, because the future is watching, and it only bows to those who refuse to back down. The real battlefield isn't your calendar. It's your conviction. It's not the deadlines that are draining you. It's the way you speak to yourself when no one else hears. You scroll past success stories thinking they're lightning strikes, but behind every overnight is 10 years of nights no one posted. You think burnout is a signal to stop, but what if it's a signal to upgrade your operating system? You see, the civilian mindset breaks under pressure. It says, this is too much. But the sovereign mindset, the billionaire brain, it says, this pressure is proof I'm expanding. Keep going. Pressure is privilege. Only those who are becoming more feel it this deeply. Do you want easy, or do you want to evolve? Think of your heroes, those icons carved into the stone, of history, Da Vinci, Mandela, Jobs, Carnegie, Hill. None of them coasted, all of them bled. Not just from external battles, but from internal wars. Wars with doubt, with fatigue, with the seductive lie that they weren't enough. But they refused to let emotion outrank mission. And that is the line that separates burnout from brilliance. The ability to feel the fire and fuel yourself with it. Let me be blunt. If you are burned out from chasing your dream, it's because you're chasing it with fragile systems and shallow reasons. You don't need rest. You need reinvention. You need to rebuild your habits like an architect rebuilding after war. Because your future empire cannot stand on routines made from chaos. You want billionaire stamina? Then study how they move. Billionaires don't wake up to escape the day. They wake up to engineer it. Their mornings are blueprints. Their thoughts are levers. Their decisions are weapons. They don't confuse motion with progress. They act with directional aggression. But you're still asking, should I keep going? No. Ask a better question. Who do I need to become so that quitting is no longer an option? Let me say it again. Burnout happens when your output exceeds your vision. If you're grinding without seeing, building without believing, you will crumble. But if you burn with vision, you'll transcend the pain. You think you're stuck because you're tired. But the truth, you're stuck because you haven't committed to a standard that scorches your old identity. Raise your standard. Raise it until your current routine feels offensive. That is the gateway to transformation. You don't get to skip the shadows. You don't get to leapfrog the fire. But you do get to become the kind of soul who turns fire into focus. Do you know what they don't tell you about high performers? They suffer too. They break too. But they channel pain into protocol. Every broken dream is recycled into resilience. Every collapsed plan becomes a new discipline. They don't bounce back. They build forward. So here's your mirror. Will you keep dancing with burnout until your spirit fades? Or will you rise into the discipline of becoming dangerous? Because this is what's waiting on the other side of pain. Not peace, not applause, not relief, but power, the kind that rewires your voice, rebuilds your self-trust, and radiates through your life until people feel your presence before you speak. And maybe that's what you've forgotten, that your purpose is not a task list. It's a temperature, and when you finally rise into that state, where your clarity burns hotter than your fear, you become unignorable. The world starts to bend around you because nothing is more magnetic than someone who knows exactly who they are, what they stand for, and why they will never stop. This is your invitation, not to escape burnout, but to alchemize it, to stop saying, "I'm overwhelmed," and start declaring, "I'm awakening." To stop seeking hacks and start building hard edges around your habits. To stop idolizing rest and start worshipping alignment. You are not broken. You are becoming. And every crack you feel in your system is the sound of false selves falling. Away, let them fall. Let your old excuses die. Let your past patterns burn. Because on the other side is not just a better schedule. It's a new species of you. More focused, more fearless, more free. But freedom isn't a feeling, it's a formula, and your job now is simple. Execute, relentlessly, ruthlessly, reverently, because your future isn't waiting, it's watching, and it's only giving power to the ones who refuse to fold. The legends you admire didn't win because they had easier paths. They won because they built minds that could not be broken. This is the final truth no one tells you. The greatest enemy of your future is not exhaustion. It's the illusion that you still have time. But the clock doesn't care about your feelings. The market doesn't wait for your burnout. And destiny doesn't pause until you're ready. It moves, with or without you. And somewhere out there, another version of you already exists. One who didn't flinch, one who didn't scroll, one who didn't need permission. They're building the legacy, they're claiming the life, they're becoming the name that others will study. So what are you still doing on the sidelines? This life, it's not a test run. This pain, it's not punishment, it's preparation. The world throws chaos at you to see if you'll collapse or crystallize. And if you're listening to this, I already know what you are. You're a builder, a breaker of patterns, a weapon forged in the quiet hours when no one's clapping. You just forgot for a moment. That's all burnout is. It's memory loss. It's forgetting who the hell you are and what you're capable of becoming when you lock in with fire. So here's what I need you to do. Get up, right now, not tomorrow, not when you feel better. Now, rebuild your system like your future depends on it, because it does. Rip out the habits that drain you, torch the distractions that numb you, and inject rituals of power into your bloodstream. Wake early, think deeper, speak less, execute like you're building a monument in every hour. You don't need a reset. You need to return to that original hunger, that unfiltered ambition, that violent clarity that said, "I will not die as a statistic. I will not leave this world without imprinting my fingerprint on its rhythm. I will not betray the gift inside me." This isn't motivation. This is your mirror. This is what your soul sounds like when you remove the noise. You've been lied to. They told you burnout meant stop. But in truth, it means one thing. It's time to level up. Your nervous system isn't fried. It's awakening to a higher threshold. Your mind isn't weak. It's just been caged in comfort. So break the dam. Cage, don't burn the blueprint you were handed. If it doesn't honor your mission, it doesn't deserve your breath. You weren't born to be a passive character in someone else's story. You were born to author impact with your pain, your pace, and your principles. And if you're hearing this, really hearing it, you already know what needs to happen next. You need to make a promise to yourself, one so loud it echoes through your future timeline. I will not quit. I will not lower my standard. I will not sleepwalk through another decade of almost. You will study the legends, you will extract their systems, and you will install their mindsets until they become your natural language. Because the billionaire brain isn't just about wealth. It's about warrior thinking, unbreakable, relentless, unshakable. It's not how much you do, it's who you become while doing it. So become the one who shows up. Become the one who builds systems from ashes. Become the one who outlasts the noise, the critics, the algorithm, and the exhaustion. You are not tired. You are called. And this call, this brutal, beautiful inner voice, it does not speak twice. Answer it now. Get out of your head. Get into motion. And get ready to become the kind of soul history remembers. Not because you were loud, but because you were immovable. Burnout is not your identity. It's your invitation. Accept it. Transcend it. Become inevitable.